Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pacific Pokemon Podcast, where we talk about Pokemon with a focus on VGC. I'm Lindsay,
And I'm Bambi.
and today we are here to go over tons of events and giveaways from the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games that we have not been going over as much for the last couple of weeks. And then some of the biggest tournaments in Regulation F's earliest experiences, I guess, before the official rule set was even necessarily announced, and
We got
immediately
it right, y'all.
afterwards as
We
well.
got it right. we didn't need to know. We knew what was happening.
Yeah.
It was obvious.
It did feel very obvious, thankfully, to a lot of top players of like, okay, well, obviously Terapagos isn't allowed, Petrarunt isn't allowed, and everything else is.
Yep.
Because we were kind of already there, of just no box legendaries, but everything else. So I'm glad that that's exactly where we are. Glad we
Yeah.
got it right. Yeah. And then also there's a new epilogue trailer. If y'all haven't gone and seen it, we do have an epilogue coming out January 11th for the
Which
Scarlet and
is
Violet DLC.
only 12 days away.
Yeah,
Less than 2 weeks.
it's the week after Portland Regionals, which is in 6 days.
Yep. And neither of us have a team still.
I'm pretty close to set on my team. I spent all
You're close?
day. I spent all day yesterday on Showdown. All
Okay.
day.
I mean,
Literally.
I've been using as far as teams I've tried out, the team that I made, the Spam team
Hmm.
that I made on my own, I've been getting the most results with. I
Okay.
really like I really like Latias Tailwind stuff a lot. It's so much fun. Um, it's just I was able to really just find like really hyper offensive consistency with the Spam team. Um, that just not a lot of people were prepped for,
Yeah, now
like
this is with
or even
the Iron
considering.
Crown, right?
Yeah, this is with Iron
Yeah.
Crown with booster speed.
What else are you running on that team? Indeedee, Iron Crown.
Indeedee, Iron Crown, Dusclops, Ursaluna, Chiyu, and Annihilate.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yep. Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so you.
oh god, that's a fun team. Ugh.
uh, so my favorite thing to do with this team is Final Gambit Protect turn one. Uh, unless I see like unless I see like Whimsicott or Fluttermane,
Fair.
and then I go Terrakion Cutter instead of Protect. But when it's a Fluttermane, I almost never, ever, 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 ever do I Terrakion Cutter onto it without a helping hand or a Chiyu buddy.
Fair, yeah.
Uh, it
Tachyon
never
Cutter,
picks
I
up
think
a
you
KO.
mean, by the way.
Yeah, Tachyon. Oh, it's not Terrakion Cutter.
You're not throwing Terrakions at Fluttermane with Iron Crown. Although that would be a very entertaining animation.
That would be just what bad, what bad, what bad. Just pew, pew, pew. Be like,
Oh
it,
goodness.
yeah, it's a really fun team. It's pretty linear. Um,
Okay.
the Blood Moon mode is really crazy, but the problem is that because I don't have fake out on the team and I'm actively stopping fake outs,
Mm-hmm.
um, setup like goes hard into my team. And
Fair.
specifically, Raging Bolt goes incredibly well into my team, despite not having access to the Terrakion Cutter because I don't have a fairy type on my team.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, you don't have a
yeah,
safe
I was
switch for the Draco.
Dragon or the Dragon
Yeah.
Pulses or anything. I'm just taking those. And I can't final gambit it either because it has 3 base more HP than uh, Annihilate.
I mean, you still can. You just don't get the KO on
Yeah,
it.
I mean, like
But like sometimes that's still worth it because that allows even in DD's like dazzling gleam or any
Even if it Terra
basic
grasses or
spread
something,
move
because
to just
it puts it at like 6 HP no matter what.
mhm.
Basically, is how the math breaks down.
Plus, if you
Um,
know that your opponent is holding a life orb, then you know that any one attack plus that final gambit will guaranteed put them out of the game.
yeah, but I haven't seen that matchup
True.
happen yet.
Life orb isn't
Um,
super common on it already, I think.
yeah, no. One of the things too that people forget about all the time is that Arcaladon only has a 67 base HP, so it gets final gambited into oblivion every time. Doesn't matter how many staminas you have, the
Mm-hmm.
final gambit will always OHKO. And the thing is like that turn one positioning into that protect slot, um,
Yeah.
unless you have Tailwind, you don't have an answer. And if you try to go for anything other than Tailwind on your setter, uh, it's Annihilate's going to outspeed with the Choice Scarf.
Yeah. Scarf Ape does
Um,
so much work.
and if your Tailwind setter isn't Focus Sashed, you don't get Tailwind, and you don't get a move at all. There's been so many times where I have like O-code Tornaduses and Landorus. It's like every big threat in this meta game right now is checked off the list by Annihilate right now
Yeah.
with Final
Gambit
Gambit.
Ape is actually really solid.
It's yeah, it's not bad, and it's just slower than like just a few like a hair slower than my booster speed.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
Iron Crown. So the way it works out is like if I really needed to get the final gambit off and I'm okay with trading some damage on my crown,
Mm-hmm.
I can usually go for like a Tachyon cutter um, and pick up the final gambit KO that way. The
Yeah,
problem is that Iron Crown has a lot of answers. So
it
usually
does.
I can't get away with that. I usually have to Terra away from Steel to be able to pick up that.
I kind of get that, actually. That's kind of the only reason why I didn't end up actively considering putting Crown onto
Mhm.
my Spam Trick Room team that I've kind of just settled into really hard at this point.
Yeah, see, like, so the thing, what I like about it is that the Psy Spam is the fast mode,
Mm-hmm.
and I get the Blood Moon Ursula in the back,
Yeah.
and she checks the steel types for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kind of using
She,
Ensign and Hands to check the steel types, and it's working pretty well.
and also, when in doubt, like most steel types don't struggle into annihilate, but like I can still like close combat shenanigans.
Yeah. And it's a
One thing I'm
lot of
actually going to be
damage.
I'm going to be trying out in the next ladder tour coming up is I'm going to be trying Rage Fist instead of Phantom Force on my Annihilate. So that way I can go for a Tachyon Cutter on Annihilate turn one because it's just a little bit faster, and then I can go for a Rage Fist to pick up like an Fluttermane Oko turn one.
Yeah.
Like so that way I can apply offensive pressure to Fluttermane turn one when I see because like the most consistent if you have it into size spam,
Mm-hmm.
the best way to deal with it, if it's Iron Crown size spam
Yeah.
is going Torn Flutter.
Of course.
Tailwind, setting up the tailwind, and just living anything that I got because you're not going to get final gammated on the flutter.
Yep.
Uh, you're gonna and you're not going to get fighting type moved, and you have if I'm going Phantom Force, you have a turn to swap out if you need to. So
Yeah.
this way I can
Swap in the
punish if you
Ensign
try
and you
to.
don't even activate Defiant because the Annihilate's not on the board.
Yeah, and I can go for like a Tech Young Cutter and like a Terrifier
Mm-hmm.
on my Annihilate, and then take a Moonblast and take a Bleak Windstorm if I have to,
Yeah.
uh, and then go for big Rage Fists.
Yeah. Yeah, and with the Terrifier, you know you're able to survive your own Tachyon Cutter as well, specifically at least.
Yeah, exactly.
I would definitely run the calc, make sure you know whether or not you're able to survive your Tachyon Cutter without terastallizing, because if you survive it without terastallizing, then you can play that and still save your Terra if you find a time that you feel like you need to.
I'm gonna test
But
it out today, but I would be shocked if Tekken Cutter did more than half without Terra.
to the 8,
Yeah, to the ape with max HP invested. Yeah, I don't think
I
it's
mean,
doing more
he's
than half.
bulky, but he doesn't resist it either.
He's bulky as I'll get out. 110 base HP is not
No,
something
it's
to
nothing
snub
to
at.
scoff at, but it's like, I don't think Ape has an, well, I think, what is it, like 90 base
Yeah,
defenses?
it's got 90s in the defenses.
So it's pretty solid, yeah.
It, I think it could easily take two Tekken cutters if it needed to,
Maybe.
but I think into that specific lead, um, it would be better to Terrifier no matter what.
Always, yeah. Because then you just take the Moon Blast so well, too. You know.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
and
good play.
I, what I gotta do is I gotta learn. If I'm going to be running Final Gambit, I think what I want to do is I really want to learn, do some more studies into like base HPs of Pokemon,
Yeah.
so I can know like how many hits can I take before I can't Final Gambit something.
That's another way to consider it as well. Yeah. What HP
Like how often
benchmark do
am
you
I
need to
able to
hit to
hit?
be able to
Am I?
KO it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, like what's the benchmark
Uh,
for max HP Ogerpon? Because then you can take 33% of your HP probably on Annihilate and still Final Gambit and Ogerpon,
exactly,
etc.
exactly. So I gotta run some. I gotta look into some Final Gambit calcs for this because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be keeping the Annihilate on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it's some it's just some crazy offensive like positional play that you can't do with any other Pokemon. It's a really strong
Yeah.
niche.
Plus it has access to the
And
Defiant, which is so good into Incineroar too.
exactly. Like I don't always have to Final Gambit Incineroar.
No, just close combat that thing. You already got a
Mm-hmm. That
+1,
plus
smack
one.
it and it's gone.
Yeah.
Even a Terra Grass, it's going to take, like 70%
Mm-hmm.
at least. So good. I'm glad
Yeah.
I turned you onto the 8th there a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you brought it up. Like it's actually been doing me wonders.
Beautiful.
Like I was about to be running Galarian Zapdos and
Yeah.
suffering. Like so
Yeah, immunity to fake out helps a lot. Plus the Defiant, plus really good fighting coverage, and Rage Fist is a busted move.
speaking of Galarian
Is a
Zapdos,
lot.
uh totally overlooked right now.
True. I do think
100%
Zapdos.
overlooked. It is an Incineroar answer 100% of the time.
Actually, that's true because it also even gets like the acrobatics and whatnot
Mhm.
to defeat the Terra Grass, which is the most common terastallization, and hit neutrally the
Which I
Terra
don't
Fairy if you encounter the
understand.
Terra Fairy.
I really don't like Terra Grass on Incineroar. Um, I I don't respect it.
To each their own, right? It makes a lot of
I
sense on
think
my team, I think, because then it gives me a big FU to Amoonguss.
that's
Because I
really
mean,
all
I'm
it's
running a
there for.
hard Trick
But you
Room
know what?
team that
It already
really
has
gets beat by Amoonguss otherwise.
it already has an FU to Among Us. It's called Flare Blitz.
True. But like I said, I'm running that hard Trick Room team, so under Trick Room, then the Amoonguss outspeeds everything on my team except for Hatterene.
Mm,
And so
okay.
that's where I kind of have to play to that, not letting Amoonguss just hard stop my Trick Room sweep. And so a lot of my
Hmm.
Mons have either Terra Grass or some other way to prevent Amoonguss from doing Amoonguss things. But that's for a specific Trick Room team that, is utilizing these things to counteract the Amoonguss.
Hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily the best idea in all scenarios. Because as you mentioned, when you outspeed the Amoonguss, you just Flare Blitz it and you flatten it.
But if you
Or
don't
you
want to
force
spend
it
your
to
time on your
Terra.
trick room, then you give Among Us the priority no matter what.
Yeah. And I don't want Amoonguss having just like being able to swap in and be like, okay,
Gotta
cool,
turn up.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
just spore all of your
Among
team to
Among Us
sleep.
becomes like a really bulky Lilligant under Trick Room
Yeah. Yeah.
and way more consistent.
But you have to be in Trick Room for that too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
not
right
hard to
now
do.
I'm running the Water Ogerpon as my grass type on my team, and I've actually been really enjoying it. I like the flexibility of
I
having
really
a follow
enjoyed
me for it.
having Water Ogre on my team throughout the entirety of Regulation E, and I'm kind of sad that I'm not using it anymore.
I get that. Yeah, I kind of
Follow
settled
Me
into
redirection on a Water Absorb is so good. Uh,
yeah,
on top of that, being able to live like the most prominent spread type damage in the game, and get a boost in your special defense into basically all spread damage.
yeah, except
Um,
for like Earthquake, but who's using Earthquake right now?
people who like losing to Rillaboom.
True. This is true. But yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's killer. One thing I've been considering on my Blood Moon Ursaluna is using Life Orb on it just to get more immediate pressure.
Okay, instead of the weakness policy.
hmm But honestly, I don't think I'm gonna do it. There are times where I need to burn my Ursaluna, and I really don't want to have that extra chip.
Yeah, Life Orb is good in very particular scenarios, I think. I think there are very certain
hmm
Pokemon that use it really, really well. You know, obviously the Sheer Force Landorus is one of those because it also ignores the chip. Um,
hmm
added perk of that ability. Um, but I think Hatterene is one of the few other Pokemon that really loves Life Orb, oddly enough.
hmm
But there's not a whole lot of other Pokemon that are like, yeah, I need Life Orb specifically. Like, weakness
For
policy is almost
Alligator.
preferred in most scenarios. And true, yeah, for Alligator. But once again, another sheer force utilizer as well, similar to the Landorus-I. So
Mhm.
it's same concept of like, well, if Life Orb's amazing if you don't have the HP chip coming out.
Yeah,
It's an
that's true.
amazing item that way,
The problem with
otherwise.
Feraligatr, believe it or not, is its move pool.
Yeah, it has a
It
terrible
doesn't
move
have a
pool.
lot. You can't use it. It doesn't have access. It takes a lot of chip damage, even with sheer force. Like if you want to use Aqua Jet, you're taking chip.
Yeah, Aqua Jet, you take the chip because there's nothing getting nullified. You can use like Ice Fang and stuff like that a bit. Liquidation has a perk.
Waterfall.
Waterfall, yep.
But if you want priority, sorry, bud.
Yeah. And that's where I feel like for Alligator, it would be more along the lines of the Dragon Dance Sheer Force
hmm
set. You know, where you're just like, I need to be able to outspeed and then I do the things. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, we've gone over your team. I've settled into Trick Room and DD Hat with the obviously the Water Ogerpon as I mentioned, and then Incin, Iron Hands, and Goldengo. Finally swapped the King
hmm
Gambit out and I put Goldengo on and it does feel a little bit better.
It's because it's anti-competitive.
It's just it gives me a faster mode. Ogerpon Goldengo gives me a solid faster combination that still
I
works
thought it was
well
just
in Trick Room.
giving you a swap into any status move
And
kind
then
of
also
thing.
that. Anti a
Um,
lot of status. But Hatterene does that too with Magic Bounce, reflecting status moves back. So like even Will-O-Wisp, Taunt, whatever, gets bounced back from Magic Bounce.
mhm. Well, but even then, like Pain Split still works on it.
True. Yeah. And Goldengo just has really good typing.
Final Gambit works on it. Final Gambit does not work on Goldengo even when it's Steel type, like Terra Steel.
It doesn't. Good to know.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Mine's Terra Dragon. So I mean, running the defensive Terra Dragon with the
Defensive Terra Dragon's really good.
nasty
Um,
plot stuff.
I really want to encourage you to go Terra Steel though.
I might. It we'll see how it plays on this team. Goldengo is the most recent addition. That's the one that
Mhm.
has the least adjustments made to it to really fit the team so far. I kind of took my Tornursh Goldengo and just plopped it in and was like, yeah, this feels pretty solid. So,
Mhm.
but we got a few days still to kind of mess with that last detail a bit.
Well, the reason why I'm advocating for Terra Steel on Goldengo is because if you think about that double stab bonus it gets,
Mm-hmm.
that's that's mitigating more than a quarter of your damage reduction over 2 Make It Rains.
Yeah, it mitigates a
So you're
lot.
essentially getting, like 2.5 Make It Rain damages versus 1, or versus 1.5,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like two
yeah.
and a quarter, or something like that. 2.25 um, uh, damage going in versus 1.5. I think
Yeah.
it's just I think you'll find a lot more consistency into neutral hits that way, and into swaps.
You might be right too, because there have been a couple of times where I was using it and wasn't quite picking up the KOs that I
And
needed. So,
another reason why I think you can get away with it is because you're still running Clefairy, right?
the fairy not in
Are
this
you running,
team. No.
or no, not Clefairy. You're running Ogerpon, so you got the Follow Me,
Yeah,
so you can still protect your Goldango even under Trick Room.
true. And I have the Indeedee as well for the follow me too. So
Yeah, so you have double
double follow
redirection, which,
me,
by the
double
way,
fake out.
double Follow Me and double Fake Out is gonna be the new meta.
It's really
Double
strong.
redirection in general.
It's kind of
Uh,
ironic because I'm running psychic terrain and double fake out, but like it's working so well.
mhm,
Mostly because Rillaboom and Ice Spinner are very common. So like people see Indeedee Hatterene in the lead and they just go hard to cancel Psychic Terrain. They tunnel vision so hard into no expanding force that they forget
mhm,
that I just can swap in other things and then just pick out, pick out. And I'm just gonna dazzle with that Hatterene. That's fine. You let me get the trick room up
mhm.
and it's still gonna hit you hard. I don't need
For
Psychic
real.
Terrain to do damage to you, friend.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty interesting running this team around.
I'm glad you're enjoying it though.
Me too. I'm happy with where I found myself at the beginning of regulation in the end. I tried yesterday at the start of the day to switch back to
Mhm,
something more like Torn Ursh, Reg F, and I put it down after 2 matches. 2 best of 3s. It's like, nope,
mhm.
nope, going back to the DD hat. I know my line's so much better from this already. Like I know what I'm doing
Yeah.
with this team, and it
Once
feels like me.
and if you decide that Golden Go isn't doing it for you, I highly advocate for Heatran on this team.
I've been considering Heatran as well as a concept,
Heatran
even with
has
the
been
ensign.
nowhere to be found in this regulation, and I think it is the answer that we've been looking for a lot of things.
It is. It's really good into Fluttermane too.
It's
Has
really good into Burning
generally good
Bulwark,
typing. That's
or
also
not
true.
Burning Bulwark.
Um,
What's its name? Entei's Paradox.
Raging, Gouging Fire. There we go. Really good into Gouging
Gouging.
Fire. It's good into
It's
all of the
really
new
good for
dragons
gouging.
except for kind of um, Walking Wake. But like you
It's
can also,
incredible into Metagross.
yes, very good into Metagross. Very good into a lot of the current meta that's rising right now as well, with Iron Crown even as well.
Mhm. So here, that's our Pacific Pokemon Podcast meta call. Heatran will have a vengeance.
Heatran coming back. That's something to consider. I might even slot it in. Yeah, see. We'll run some tests on that because that is something that I've been kind of tossing around a little bit in the back of the mind. I feel
It'll give
like
you a better Goldengo meme.
yeah, and I feel like the fire damage from Incineroar is a little bit underwhelming. And so I'm
Hmm.
almost considering getting rid of Flare Blitz and just putting Helping Hand on Incineroar.
It's really good. It's not bad.
Like
And
knockoff parting
helping,
shot fake out Helping Hand is so much support.
it is all the support.
So
Uh,
good.
and you can't be prankster taunted because of terrain and your typing. Um,
Yeah.
can you imagine Incineroar with no attack moves.
Oh my goodness. No
Does
attack,
it except for fake
Incineroar.
out?
That would be wild. Except fake out, yeah. You'd run
That
fake
would
out,
be
parting shot, helping hand, and what
helping
else? Maybe
hand.
Will-O-Wisp?
Will-O-Wisp for sure.
Oh my goodness. I remember there was a point where people picked up Snarl on Incineroar
Does it
just
still
to.
get it?
It does. It does.
It should be using it.
Right now, the meta doesn't feel great with Snarl Incin because it's really easy to, just
But
put a
it feels
competitive
great
or
with.
Defiant Mon in front of it.
Well, Snarl Archaludon is the meta right now for
True.
Archaludon.
Although
So
that's
I
because
really
Arch
think that
has
Snarl's
very
really
bad
good.
special defense.
This is
It
true.
needs to snarl things to survive.
Even with the AV.
Yeah.
Coupled with a low HP stat, yeah, you definitely need it.
Absolutely. But yeah, I guess real quick, let's rattle off some of these events that are going on, get these done and out of the way, because I want to discuss a little bit of your tournament experience from your MSS today.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is, yeah, second place, spoiler alert, that we'll be going over. So, congratulations, first off, officially on the podcast.
Thank
Very
you.
well done. And yeah, we're looking forward to hearing more about it. So let's get through these eventos and giveaways. Going to start with the two that we've already mentioned previously on the channel because they are still ongoing for a little while longer. Get them while you still can. Or at least in the case of the Shiny Lucario, a little while longer. This thing's around until January 3rd. Code is Shiny Buddy. That's all there. Gimmighoul code. See you in Paldea. This is available until November 30th of 2024, so we have a lot of time on this. But the important details are that it has a 0 IV in all stats except for speed, where it has a 31. So it's an easy way to get a 0 attack Gholdengo.
They should have just given us the 0 speed.
I know, right? But it also comes with the upbeat mark for the title The Chipper, which is a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
That's an
I like it
extremely
because it's
different.
got the eighth notes for the little sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a cute one.
No musical boy.
Pretty great. On the subject of other Pokemon with titles and whatnot that they have in giveaways, there's Paldean Wings. There's two of them. There's a Revavroom that goes until October 31st of this year with some attack EVs, and all IVs are 20 except for attack, which is 31. And this guy comes with the Peeved mark for the title The Grumpy. The code for this...
I got a Palmot with that one.
Yeah! But the code for the Revavroom is Team Star. There's also a Titan from Paldean Winds, code being Like a Flute. Like a Flute. Such a weird one. That one makes no sense to me, but that's okay. Probably have to watch the episode.
Make it work with. Oh, there's an episode attached to it. That
yeah,
makes sense.
They're from the Paldean Winds episodes series thing, so it's not something I've been watching, but
I kind of want to watch it and see how it is.
You should. Yeah, do it. Let us know what it.
Pikachu wears a hat now, and it's a different Pikachu, but it's still Pikachu vibes somehow.
I believe that. Yeah, the Titan comes with the Ferocious mark for the title The Rampaging. Which that one's really cool, I think. Titan The Rampaging. That's pretty sweet.
That's a pretty good one. Only Titan was good.
I know, right? Otherwise, there are some item giveaways going on as well. There is a Sporty Cap giveaway, Terrastal Cap giveaway, with the code Wear Terrastal Cap. This goes on until November 30th, as well as the Gimmighoul. There's also a short-term distribution of 10 TM223s of Metal Sound because they realized that you need the materials from Violet exclusive Pokemon Shieldon to craft the TM. So they're giving 10 of them away for free for all Scarlet players who don't have access to Shieldon until they alter the crafting requirements in the patch mid-January. That patch is probably going to be the same patch where they drop the epilogue. So
I sure hope so.
it just makes sense, in that scenario, considering they've already planned that patch on January 11th. And then other item giveaways, there is the other one that we covered already, the Paldean Wings, Herba Mystica, sweet or spicy, or either sweet or spicy Herba Mystica, and I think it's 5 each, or 5 total. So it's some herbas, worth it.
Hey, that's you can make any type sandwich with those. So you can get 5 shinies potentially out of that.
Yep. Not necessarily if you get the sweet roll, but that's going to depend on the
Oh, it's a
recipe that you
roll for
make.
what you get?
Yeah, you don't get both. It's one or. I
Oh,
know, that was the downside. If you roll
oh,
the
that's
spices, it's definitely
bad.
more useful. I really
Yeah,
wish it was both.
yeah. If you get it, yeah, if you want the spicy, but if you get sweet, rip.
A little bit. Terra raid events. We did not cover the Iron Bundle Terra raid event while it was here. Apologies on that one, friends. The 7-star Iron Bundle, the mightiest. I hope you guys were able to get your Iron Bundles. If not, I'm sorry that we failed you there, but that is okay because the important ones are back right now, and that's the Walking Wake and the Iron Leaves. If you did not get
And then they're
those,
gone forever.
they're back.
That's my assumption. They won't be coming back, I don't think.
I hope they come back at least one more time during the lifespan of Scarlet and Violet, at least, But I do hope that it's maybe coming up on Worlds or something like that,
Hmm.
like a month before Worlds this upcoming season. I think would be a good time to rerun that one more time.
That wouldn't be bad.
But these guys are going to be here in Terra Raid events until January 6th. So until the day that Portland Regionals starts up. So get your Walking Wake, get your Iron Leaves, just get your extra legendaries because those ones are a pain to get otherwise.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Portland regionals, if you find yourself at here on Friday, the day before regionals to kick off, that night there will be a PC going on at the Lloyd Center in the mall at the venue not Going Games, excuse me, at the venue Gambits Anime and Hobbies. So make sure that you go and make a stop by there if you want to try and get some extra CP. And you could also probably end up meeting the Lumberry Beatdown guys there. They'll probably end up be playing on that PC. They're both local to Portland.
Heck yeah. More Portland groups, more Portland peeps. Gathering up for
Mm-hmm,
regionals.
mm-hmm,
Everybody's going to be
mm-hmm.
there.
Don't
That's
be
pretty
afraid to
sweet.
come up and say hi to me and Lindsay. We'll both be there.
What time is that one at?
The time on that one, I believe it starts at 5. That's their
Okay.
normal start time for their PCs.
We
It
might be
could
able
be
to make it
earlier
down
though.
there then for that. Check the description and we'll have the information for that Gambit PC. So yeah, on to other tournament occurrences. Tell us about your second place experience in your local MSS this past week.
I went undefeated in Swiss, made it into finals, and lost in the last turn to Chiyu over Heat Mist.
That is just wild. Once
Hmm.
again, tell us what team you were bringing. Were you bringing the exact same team that you already went over?
No. This is a Regulation E team.
Ah,
Uh,
right. Was the Regi
y-
tournament still? Or
yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, it was the last Reg E tournament.
gotcha.
And I was running the Wobblefets, Blood Moon Ursaluna team. This time without the land, I wasn't running Lando-I. I was running or not Lando-I, Lando-T. I was running Fluttermane with booster speed and Icy Wind.
Booster Speed,
No
Fluttermane,
dazzle.
Chi-Yu, the
Yeah,
Dusclops, Blood Moon, and
no,
then...
no dazzling gleam on Flutter, just Moonblast.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Um, yeah. Some little bit of notes on this team. One of the things you can do with it that I did in turn one, not turn one, game one, was I was able to uh, lock Amoonguss into a trick room and was able to self burn my own Chiyu after Terra ghosting to be able to launch off a heat wave for the double KO for the win.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, that game was against Benji, and Benji's a really fantastic player,
I
super
know
well
that
versed
name.
with the Blood Moon team. Um, yeah, Benji and I had a Blood Moon mirror the last PC we played at the venue. The venue
Okay.
was Going Games, so shout out to them for hosting that. It's really cool. Um, you'll yeah, we gotta. It was a quite the wild ride. So the first game I was able to pick up the W basically by playing that hard trick room mode, um, and going for the self burns to prevent sleep.
Self burns. I love that people are
Hmm.
still executing that strategy. Like, it's such a noticeable strategy only ever to beat Among Us. I feel
It's
like it
literally
doesn't
just
happen any
humongous
other way.
play.
But
Yeah,
sleep is so horrible.
you have to set up the trick room for it to work, so that way Dusclops outspeeds Among Us.
Yep. At least in the case of your team.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was able. So game two. Let's see. Who was I against in game two? Oh, it was against Sloth Diesel. That's right. I played both the Lumberry beatdown guys, uh,
Nice.
and beat them both because I went undefeated in Swiss,
Which is still
4-0.
crazy. Oro and Swiss, and
Um,
then what was the top cut? Top 8
top
or top
four.
4? Okay.
Yeah, top four. And my finals opponent was against Peter Ho. And if you guys know anything about Zoria, the guy is
So
built different.
he
Yeah,
is.
absolute monster of a player. It was really funny because me and Peter we carpool together from down south up to Portland for all the events together. So it was a really awkward car ride home.
First and second, just being like, you beat me.
Well, the thing was like, okay, I got to backtrack a little bit. That was just a little flip note on it. My 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 round four opponent, I think it was. So round four? No, my round three opponent was a guy named Juan playing a Lily Cole team
Okay.
with Thunderous on it.
Hmm.
And both Terra Ghost on Lily and Cole.
Wow. Okay.
I'm gonna let you know, you can keep your focus sash. The right answer is Torkoal every time.
True.
One interesting thing I will note about this matchup is that the Lilligant was running Ice Spinner instead of close combat,
Huh.
which gave me an immediate just uh, edge against my normal Lily Cole matchup.
True, because you
Um,
don't have to worry about that into the Blood Moon
I don't
even.
have to worry or Chiyu. Well, I do
Yeah.
have to worry about the Ice Spinner into the Blood Moon.
True, but Ice Spinner
Um,
doesn't do anywhere near as much as the close combat. Is just what I mean there,
it's
you know?
true.
Because it doesn't
Yeah,
have stab, it's not the same
game
base
one,
power.
Juan played absolutely fantastically. I was asleep for almost like he got three of my Pokemon asleep that game from sleep powder. Um,
Gosh. Wow.
and I was able to pull out the double wake up for the win in
Oh,
game one.
nice.
Yeah, double wake up, and one of them was a turn one wake up too.
Nice. Or the turn
So
2, but
I was
yeah.
or turn two, yeah, turn two wake up, and I was able to get that trick room set up perfectly for it and go from there. He was the only person to take a game off me in our matches uh, in
Wow.
Swiss.
2-0'd for all of the
Hmm.
others as well. Dang.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ready for Portland.
No, because I don't have the same team. If I had the same team, I'd be so ready.
I mean, you
Oh
could just
man.
run the same team. Why not?
because it has Iron Hands, and Iron Hands is bad right now.
Iron Hands is not bad right now. I'm gonna disagree with you so
Iron
hard there.
Hands
It
is
was MVP for me in
so
so many matches yesterday.
bad right now. It gets outclassed by Incineroar.
It handles Incineroar too, though.
Barely. Unless if Incineroar has Will-O-Wisp, it's Jover.
True. But there's very few Incineroars out there running Will-O-Wisp currently, I've noticed. A lot of them are hitting that
It's
4 move
true.
slot syndrome so hard that none of them are even considering
Are you
the
kidding?
burn.
Incineroar
They're
has
just
like
running
eight move
parting. I
syndrome. Oh
mean,
my gosh.
yes. Incineroar has the same issue as, like Whimsicott and some of the best meta Pokemon in the game of like 15 viable moves that all have really good utility in the right scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
It gets 2 great pivoting moves in Parting Shot and U-Turn. It has Fake Out, it has Knockoff, it has Snarl, it has Flare Blitz for damage. It now gets Temper Flare, which is a solid option if you're trying to actually get more damage out of your Incin without the recoil. Because you can just
Mm-hmm.
intentionally Fake Out on, turn 2,
And
and then
then,
Temper Flare.
or you could have Temper Flared twice.
Also true. But there's a lot of versatility that Pokemon has.
Yeah, it's pretty good. One thing I do I do want to note is that Cody from the
Oh yeah.
Lumberry Beatdown guys was running the same exact team as Peter. Um, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was Cody was pretty new to it
Okay.
for that. Um, it was the Tornrilla Ursh
Okay.
teams with the Hisuian Arcanine and the Fluttermane.
Still with the Arcanine and the Flutter. Okay, I didn't switch to the Incineroar.
No, it was a regulation E tournament.
Oh, that's right. I
The
keep forgetting that. Yep, you mentioned
yeah,
that.
last tournament of Reggie on the 30th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
And
sense then.
yeah, crazy. Oh my gosh. And Sloth got into Top Cut only playing like 3 matches and only winning 2 of them or
That's
one of them
impressive.
because he got the bye. And
Ah,
one of his losses was to me, and his other loss was to
probably Peter.
I think it was
If
to Peter.
anybody else, like that would be highest
I think
possible
the only
resistance.
no, yeah. So he got highest possible resistance.
So funny.
I- yeah.
A buy
What's
and
even
1 win and
funnier?
high as heck
What's even funnier
resistance.
though is so we got the top cut. Judges took our switches. They were doing team checks, and not a single one of us had our judge sheets done properly. IVs were wrong across the board for everybody. It was terrible. Um, like one of the judges was like, so technically we could just DQ you all, and I was just like, in the back as soon as they said that, I was like, I'm okay with that. I get to come in first place. I was undefeated today. But they ended up having us play it out, which was way more fun.
Probably the better
Um,
call, all in all, for everybody involved. You know?
our stuff that we were hitting to our like our moves, our items, our chair types, those were all right for everybody pretty
Yeah.
much. It was just stats were jumbled up across the board. One of the things they reiterated to us was always take the number from the game, not from a program
Yeah.
that you're using. Use the actual in-game numbers because they scale based on level and all kinds of other things.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
so
don't put
it's
in
really
level
easy to get.
50 and what your Pokemon's stats are at level
But
50.
like
Put in your
everybody
actual
did that.
stats at level
That's exactly
77.
what happened to our top cut. Was everybody had like except for me. I just forgot. I just put in the. I forgot to put in my IVs properly.
There.
Um, so that was just what was going on with mine.
Yeah.
Um,
On this
but
subject, for anybody going to Portland, when you are inputting your teams into RK9, double check, pull up your game, look at the Pokemon in game that you have on your battle team, and put in that information.
Yep. And don't forget to lock in your teams properly. There's a couple extra buttons once you get them like inputted into the system. You actually do have to go back and select
Mm-hmm.
which Pokemon that you've entered in that you're using.
Yep.
That got me around one loss in Fresno because I forgot that step at the very end.
Yeah. The app these six. These six are my team. Submit team for this event.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So double check your teams when you're submitting. Take your time. Make sure you're doing it right. The last thing you want is to automatically lose your round one, etc. The things like that. It's no fun. And even worse, it sucks even more when you get when you get through 2 matches, say, and then you realize there's an error on your team sheet. Because those judges are not going to be nice to you about it.
Oh,
I'll tell you that right now. They will not be
yeah.
nice to you about it. They are going to call you out for basically like not noticing that, and you are going to feel like an idiot.
Rest in peace to us in top four, because the head judge for Portland is like is one of our judges for our stuff at Gone Games too. So if he catches either four of us with a team sheet error, he's not gonna have. He already told us, "I'm not gonna have mercy. I gave you a warning right before the tournament. You better have it done." So
Yeah. Do it right, guys.
yeah,
Take that extra minute. Double check. Always worth it.
I always forget to take the extra minute.
Always worth it.
It is always worth it.
I would even, take an extra 15 minutes and triple check again the next day. Like you did your double check, triple check it again the next morning before you even go into the venue. Just to guaranteed, no, you submitted the right information. Because if you walk in and they haven't even printed team sheets yet, and you're going to the judges table saying, "Hey, I looked at my team sheet this morning. I realized I made a mistake. We haven't started the matches." It's a little too late, but they're a lot more willing to work with you.
If they can work with you, they will in that scenario.
Yeah,
exactly. Just depends on where they're at in their morning for getting ready for the day.
But in that scenario, at least you have a chance. You have a much better chance. So take every option you got.
Yeah. When I got into Top Cut, though, I had to face against Swan again, 2-0 this time.
Okay.
Didn't drop the game to him.
Nice.
There were some crazy games. There was like just bad luck and good luck on both sides, and it was just both of us trying to make the best of what we're got going work.
RNG, right? It's the worst part of Pokemon. Critical RNG, hits and accuracy.
It would have been a different game if he had landed one of his sleep turns specifically.
Oh, I believe that, especially Sleep Powder. It's such a volatile move.
Yeah. But man, does it pay off when it needs to.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, and then in finals against Peter, I walked into it certain I was going to lose. Not that I was going to scoop or throw or anything. That's not how I roll. I always give it the best I can because that's just how I see being a respectful competitor to be. And yeah, game one just got absolutely wrecked. It was 2 turns.
Really? Did he like come in with Flutterfish and just dazzle?
Sandsear Storm into my Iron Hands Chi lead. I called the fake out wrong. And Sandsear Storm O-code both of them.
Yikes.
Because I had Chi on the field, so AV didn't matter on the hands.
Yeah.
And then
Force Lando does so much damage. Wow.
It really does. Yeah, and then he just picked up the next 2 KOs for my Dusclops and my Ursaluna in the back real quick.
Yeah, very easy at that point with enough snowball momentum.
Mhm. Game 2 was insane. I was able to get the Trick Room off. Was trying to get the Urshifu burned. Um,
Okay, makes sense.
was able was able to take care of the Ursh. Um, and I found myself in a position to where I was like, okay, I'm starting to get into a winning game state now. And then I realized, wait, if I double protect, I get a win next turn if I land a double protect. And I did.
Living up to the
uh,
titles, the Queen of Double Protect over here, once again. Pulling out the doubles.
double protecting in my own trick room to land to be able to take care of the priority spam.
Wow.
Yeah, got some sick burns off on that game. Everybody was complaining about how I was landing every single one of my Will-O-Wisps. I only missed one Willow that entire day.
Wow.
Yeah, I
85%
was.
is 100% for you.
I, I don't know
Until
everything. And
90% in the last game.
I'm of the theory that any kind of probability is 50-50, and if you try to skew it any other way, you're just like high on your own supply.
Won't
Um,
disagree there.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's just Schrodinger's cat. The cat's alive and dead at the same time until you look at it. That's how probability works, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I
especially with
know
Pokemon.
it's not how probability works. I get that's not how probability works, but from a
With Pokemon,
philosophical
that's how it
standpoint,
feels always,
that's how it
especially.
works. From not from a hard numbers perspective, but from a uh, more of a stoic perspective.
Yeah.
Everything is 50-50.
Yep. Everything that's not
When if
100% is 50-50.
it's not set in stone, it is a 50-50.
Uh,
That's how I like to roll, at least. Game 3 was insanity, though. I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna be able to get Trick Room up again." Like Peter's not gonna let me get away with it. Uh, and he didn't have any taunt on his team either.
oh, okay.
So he was just using offensive pressure
Yep.
to get through.
Sheer raw damage output.
And so I was like, what if I just did something that he would never expect to try and see if I can catch him off guard and maybe get lucky?
Hmm.
Um, I led Iron Hands and Ogerpon Water
Okay.
and faked out the Rillaboom and went for an Ivy Cudgel onto a Landorus-I. It tarried that turn. Ogerpon goes before Landorus. Critical hit, knockout. And from that point, Peter was just like, oh my God, I want to die. Why am I here? Why am I doing this to myself? Like that for the rest of that match. But he did such a good job by keeping Urshifu in the back that it was able to come back later and win the game. What ended up happening was I got down to um, Chiyu and Iron Hands left.
Hmm.
Uh, there was a burnt Rillaboom on the field.
So
Uh,
an empty slot.
Not a burnt Rillaboom. No, it was just like a Rillaboom that got critted by a Moonblast before my Flare Main
Okay,
went
so it was
down.
just really low.
It was just really low. It was about to be in the red.
Okay.
It was in the orange barely. And basically, easily were the point where like a -2 overheat from Choice Specs Chi would still pick up the KO
Oh yeah.
reliably. And so I went for my fake out overheat into the Urshifu slot, and fake out goes off, flinch, overheat miss.
Yeah, and that overheat probably was enough.
And then sure enough, yeah, that I got stomped right after I lost my fake out priority.
Yep.
So could have had the 50 points, got 40. Not mad about it.
Still pretty
I got
awesome.
to I got to have a really killer game and try it. And even in my very last game of regulation, I was still trying new things with that team.
Yeah. I mean, trying out different rotation systems, etc., and fine tuning those matchups and those play by plays so
Hmm.
well.
Yeah, the reason why I went hands Okerpon was just because I was expecting him to put out so much offensive pressure against my leads, no matter what I
Mm-hmm.
did, that he was gonna pick out a double KO in turn one. And so I figured I might as well try and plan on that and get something done
Yeah.
before that happens and get some chip damage off from an IP cudgel somewhere. So that way Fluttermane and Chiyu can kind of try and come back and sweep. Um, but oh, by the way, it was a Terra. I terra'd my Ogre Pond for the Ivy Cudgel crit.
Gotcha. That makes sense too,
Yeah,
though,
so
like the Terra
that's why it
boost and
paid off
everything.
even when Lando I was Terra poisoned.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So yeah, it was a crazy game.
Sounds like. I mean,
Yeah,
welcome to the top tier of Pokemon, though, right? That's kind of what it gets down to when you get to those
yeah.
levels a lot of the time nowadays.
I feel like I'm starting to come up on something for sure.
I definitely agree. I think you're.
I'm building a lot of really consistent play,
Mhm.
like high level play.
I think you're taking Blood Moon or Saluna to the top with specifically as well. I think that's kind of the Pokemon that you started with in Reg E once it came
Hmm.
out. And you've gone through and tried other things and bounced around and whatnot, but you keep kind of falling back into this Blood Moon or Saluna team that you seem to love
Yeah,
so much.
it's so good.
And I'm happy
Just
that
the
you found
trio,
your best Mon
the
for this gen
yeah,
too.
the trio of Chiyu, Dusclops, and Ursaluna puts out like Blood Moon Ursaluna specifically does like so much damage. Um,
Yeah.
that and it really requires really minimal support to get that done.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. It has a very
So
just like this is how you play it, and then suddenly your opponent is gone.
mm, yeah, there's some things that like in the end, like looking back on it, I could have learned how to use Dusclops a bit better. Um,
Fair.
that always seems to be kind of like my fault, my shortcoming. I feel like is my bulky support Pokemon not being utilized to the fullest, and end up going for more like of that hard read style instead of trying to think turns ahead. Um, for what's going to be going on, especially with
Hmm.
those Pokemon that live those three, like everything's a 3-4 hit KO,
Yeah,
like Dusclops. Um,
pretty close at least. Yeah.
so yeah, 3-4 hit KO is pretty much where it's at. It's not like Porygon where everything's like a 4 or 5 hit KO though.
I mean, both are equally extremely bulky in the long run.
Hmm. I think yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for Portland, but if I can't think of something the day before, I'm bringing Blood Moon.
That's totally fair, and I definitely get that.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. I had like all throughout Swiss and everything, I had Peter cheering me on, like saying, "Let's go, Bambi," and all kinds of like, "Yeah, Bambi!" Like every single time I win or something. Then we made it into finals, and I made him regret everything. uh,
I mean,
so
hey, a best of three truly against one of the best players that we know is
mhm.
good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Peter's at Peter crossed over 300 to 500 points total today. With that, and I am at I think like 84 of my 500 now. So
Pretty solid.
my goal for this season was just to crack 100, and I think I can actually do it now.
I think you will. Yeah. Heck, just got to do well at Portland, and you might crack 500.
Let's see if I can go to Hawaii.
Just win it.
I've never been to
Easy.
Hawaii. Oh
Just win the whole
gosh, you
thing.
know who?
Easy.
I gotta stop. I gotta stop the guy who's going for his triple crown
I
for
know,
that to
right?
happen.
Hey, that's okay. Okay,
It's okay.
that's fine. Because you know what? You end up in that scenario, then you get to be the person saying, "I'm sorry, man. It's Jover."
Oh man, if I beat Joe Ugarte, I will say it's Jover to him.
And then you get to just walk off and
Never be friends.
live in the clout. Live in the
Oh
realm of
gosh.
clout.
I already live in the realm of clout for beating Justin Tang,
Sometimes.
being his only loss.
True. But yeah.
Guy lose. That's still a crazy MS. Man, I don't know what it is, but mid-season showdowns just for some reason have been where it's at for me. Like in Fresno, I got third at
Yeah.
in the MSS. Now I'm getting second. I feel like what's next is for me to come in first finally, like actually not drop a
Yeah.
single game in a tournament.
Well, if you don't make day 2 at Portland, then I bet you there's going to be that
Hey,
MSS in the day 2.
I
And
probably won't.
yeah, we'll never know, right? We won't know until we hit it. So,
Won't know, but all I gotta say is I've been called the best of one legend before. So
best of one legend and queen of double protects.
yeah,
Working on best Blood Moon Ursa player in Scarlet and Violet.
honestly, like low key, yeah, I definitely would not mind being dubbed the best Blood Moon or Luna player.
Just gotta win a whole tournament with it, and you might earn that title.
Prove it, dude. If I'm able to win a regional with it, everybody will bow.
Yeah.
True. You'll have to submit to my power.
Submit to the power of the Blood Moon Bear. That
My
would be pretty
Tsukiyomi.
wild. Pretty wild.
Is the nickname of my bear. All of my regulation 18 was from the Japanese Imperial Regalia mythos.
That's
So
pretty
like
sweet.
my blood moon was named Tsukiyomi, which is like the moon god
Of course.
of Japanese mythology. My Dusclops is named Amaterasu, which she was Susanoo.
Too many good names.
Ogerpon's just Oni because there's an Oni in that story too,
Fair.
like an ogre.
Ogre Pond
Um,
being the Oni. Oni Pond.
mhm. Yep, Onipon. Um, and then let's see what else. Ame no Uzume
Okay.
is my flutter, and then what else? What's the other ones? I feel like I'm forgetting a Pokemon right now for my team.
There is one other, but I'm forgetting what it is. So.
Oh, Izanami, Iron Hands.
Oh, yeah. Hands. But where are his arms?
Hands, but no arms.
But anyway.
We need. Oh my gosh! I just thought of the greatest past paradox
Yeah.
form for Hariyama. Swollen arms instead of iron hands. And he just
Past
has like
form Hariyama swole
he just
arms.
arms with no fingers or anything. He's just got nubs at the end.
It would be like a Diggersby almost, like just big massive arms.
Yeah. Sorry, we're getting off track. We're trying to wrap it up here.
Indeed. It's going to the end. But thanks everybody for coming in and listening to today's episode of the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Links are down below for the Discord channel as well. And we'll have a link down below for the thing we mentioned earlier that I am currently forgetting, and that is okay.
It's okay. Well, we'll remember during editing.
Yep. Past me will have already made sure that future me gets the link in the right place. So
That's how it works.
exactly how that works.
But yeah, with that.
With that, thank you so much, everybody. We will catch you guys next week in some form. We might just do a little bit of a short video next week. We'll see. Because next weekend is Portland Regionals. We will be attending those events. But with that said,
Yep.
thanks so much, everybody, and we will catch you guys later. Good luck to everybody who we might see down in
Bye.
Portland. If you see either of us, please feel free to come on up and say hello. We are excited to talk to you guys. That's about it. Good luck, everybody. Happy battling.